They say there is a calm before the storm. The hour before the battle is sacred. We are in that sacred hour. Humanity has never gone this way before. We are democratizing the creation of knowledge. The expertise that has taken you and me a lifetime to gain is now at the fingertips of a 4-year-old child. Bill Gates says it is a technology that has no limits. No limits. For the past 30 years, we have been dumbed down by computers. We have been forced into the drudgery of linear mathematics, one-to-one thinking, garbage in, garbage out. Now, for the first time in our human existence, we are exposed to a multidimensional, vectorized, exponential technology. It's no longer one-to-one thinking, garbage in, garbage out. It's one-to-many, garbage in, garbage everything. I recently won a global hackathon called Many Eyes. It says that once you know one thing about a system, you know everything about that system. What the heck does that mean? Our programming stack has fundamentally changed. We no longer program computers. We are training computers to program computers. We no longer solve problems. We are creating multidimensional solution spaces and using large language models to search those spaces and extract solutions. For example, if you are a US company and want to go global, you don't need a team of translators. Your solution is automatically replicated into 100 languages: French, German, Chinese, whatever you want. This doesn't just work for languages, it also works for reasoning. One of my research projects at the University of Kentucky this semester is precision medicine for breast cancer. Precision medicine says that one size doesn't fit all. Even though two cancers may look the same, genomically, they may be very different. And one treatment may help one patient, but actually harm another. We are building models to help doctors predict the right treatments. However, we know that once we have this worked out, we won't only have the solution for precision medicine, but, as a multi-shot, the solution for precision legal, precision finance, precision education, precision work, precision everything. It's like we've created this creature, with many eyes, that sees everything at once. My first tip for surviving AI is to apply many eyes, or exponential thinking, to every project. Don't think one-to-one. I have a problem. Here's a solution. Instead, think one-to-many. I have a problem. Here are 100 solutions. If you let AI do its work on you, it won't just be a game changer, it will be a brain changer. You'll begin experiencing an explosion of thought, shifting from one to many, having a continual aha moment. I can do this, and I can do that. Here are 2 simple examples of my aha moments. When I teach for Microsoft, I always build an exam simulator. Never in my life did I believe I would be smart enough to build an exam simulator. But it's pretty easy with AI. You build a vector database and prompt engineer the simulator on top of it. Then comes the aha moment. I can make it multilingual. With just a few extra lines of NLP, you've got a multilingual exam simulator. You should see the eyes of my foreign students light up when they see an exam question for the first time in their own language. Additionally, playing educational games accelerates learning. Kids have fun and love to learn playing games. Though it was too expensive to create educational games in the past, with AI, it's easy. Here's a Jeopardy game I prompt engineered, and then I had the aha moment. I don't just have one game, I have 1,000, and in real time. Using technology like this, startups are springing up, creating real-time gaming using diffusion models. What does this do to our beloved Agile Manifesto? I've been a Scrum Master, a product owner, and a Scrum Master trainer. So I'm telling you straight from the heart, from real experience, there's only one problem with Agile, and that's being agile. The 4th value of the Agile Manifesto says, we should be prepared to respond to change at any time, even at the end of a sprint, no matter how big or small, and that's easier said than done. But with many eyes, it's like the change is already there, we just need to use our large language model to navigate to it. It's change on steroids. You just prompt engineer a solution. As an added bonus, you get cross-functional teams effortlessly. If you lack the in-house expertise you need, simply activate an agentic worker to gain PhD-level intelligence at your fingertips. Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, the folks making the chips that AI runs on, says, "Don't teach your kids to code." This is a short-circuiting statement that drives me crazy. What do you mean? I've been coding for 40 years. It's my lifeblood. Is what I'm doing no longer viable? What Jensen Huang is saying is that we've reached the atomic limit of Moore's law. There is no longer an economic advantage. And the next frontier is accelerated computing using a computer language he calls CUDA. We are no longer programming computers. We are teaching computers to program computers. We've reinvented the entire computing stack, and what software can do is now fundamentally different. Literally, we are speaking code into existence using natural language. We call this prompt engineering. I love this image. I used to show it often at my cloud meetups to motivate them. I would say just as these employees are hand-stitching clothing together, coders are hand-stitching programs. I'm sure these two gentlemen thought, there's no way a machine can do what these ladies are doing. But the next day they bring in 10 electric sewing machines and send everyone home. Then I would say, the AI sewing machine is coming, and no one believed me. But not only is it coming, it has arrived. Here's what I don't want you to miss, because this time, something is different. We're not just seeing an explosion in coding efficiency, but also an explosion in the types of products we can create, products we never thought possible. If you're familiar with the Kotler product model, you'll know that before AI, there were traditionally two types of products: the product we are selling now and the product we plan to sell in the future. It was a one-to-one model. But with AI, it's different. It's no longer just the product we're selling now, it's the 100 products we'll be selling in the future. AI opens up opportunities for a massive expansion in product possibilities. So, before you consider sending all your programmers home, perhaps you should have them work on those 100 aha moment products to ensure your business stays competitive and doesn't become anemic. It's not about eliminating jobs that AI will take. It's about transitioning into jobs that AI will create. There's an important point here. For the first time in human history, we can now speak code into existence using natural language. Once we attach function calling and robot hands to LLMs, we will be able to speak products into existence. It's a godlike power. Just as God spoke the universe into existence, Mike Lively speaks a rocking chair into existence. In 5 years, when the quantum simulator is fully integrated, I could ask AI to analyze my genomics and speak the cure to my cancer into existence. I love next-level products. With AI, you have human intelligence in a box. You can give that intelligence a personality, attach it to anything, and have a conversation. You can talk to a website, SharePoint, YouTube, or even a database. I know companies working on devices that attach to food items, allowing you to go into a grocery store and have a conversation with your food products. Imagine being able to talk to your favorite bag of potato chips. There are countless applications for this kind of technology. Since I had 1,000 patient records, I decided to create a group of clinicians that can talk to the data, to each other, and to the patient. I call it Everything Talks. Recently, I demonstrated Everything Talks to a group of doctors. In this program, you log in with a patient number and interact with a group of agents, a virtual oncology specialist, geneticist, patient care coordinator, treatment planner, and risk assessor. The doctors ask me to log in as patient 47 Lorraine. The oncologist immediately brought up her chart and welcomed here, saying this was a journey they would take together. You can ask them any questions you want, as many as you want. I even programmed them to be compassionate. At one point, I really got into it, and I asked, "Am I going to die?" The oncologist responded with such respect and kindness that I burst into tears. Well, I'm a movie crier, and now I'm an AI crier. The business value is twofold. The patient gets as much time as they need to ask as many questions as possible without overtaxing the medical system. And two, it serves as a training program for healthcare practitioners, teaching them how to handle patients facing life-threatening issues. The average coder writes 10,000 lines of code per year. Last month, I wrote 4,000 lines of code in a single weekend. Almost half a year's worth of work. I thought I had serious bragging rights. Then OpenAI released Canvas, a tool that includes features like automatic comments, logging, language porting, and code review. With just a few more enhancements, I might be able to write 10,000 lines of code in a single day. If your company is hiring a coder and I show up claiming I can produce 3 million lines of code a year, and by the way, I'm also a Scrum Master, do I get the job? So yes, I agree with Jensen Huang. Don't teach your kids to code. Instead, teach them how the world connects so they can become exceptional prompt engineers. What does this do to our beloved Agile Manifesto? Since we can now assign a personality to anything, processes and tools have essentially become people too. So, value 1 is out. Goldman Sachs says 2/3 of U.S. jobs will be impacted by AI automation. Let's unpack this. In industry, there are 4 types of work: redundant work, work for work, reasoning work, and wisdom work. Redundant work involves tasks we often assign to interns, such as manual data entry and generating monthly reports. Work for work includes activities like daily Scrum stand-ups, where we ask, "What did you work on yesterday? What are you working on today? What's in your way?" This type of work often exists to support processes rather than produce direct outcomes. Reasoning work involves activities like data analytics, where we analyze data to generate insights for decision makers. Wisdom work relies on intuition and experience, gut feel decisions that come from years of expertise. These are the people who can pull a rabbit out of the hat or steer a company through challenging times to achieve success. Of these 4, which one do you think AI has the hardest time replacing? Wisdom work. AI doesn't have a gut. If you're a coder, your work is likely to become redundant and phased out. You'll transition into a prompt engineering role instead. You've got about 5 years. If you're in QA and writing tests for code, that work can already be done by coders using prompt engineering, so that will also go away. You've got about 2.5 years. Speaking as a former QA architect, I say this from the heart. For data analytics, your job will become heavily AI enhanced. Even today, I can open Power BI, go to the AI section, click the questions icon, and start talking to my data. It creates charts for me, and with a click on the narrator icon, I get the reasoning and story behind those charts. All in all, most agree we should expect a 60% job displacement by 2030. But job displacement doesn't mean job loss. It means doing a different job. We've seen this before. 60% of the jobs we are doing today didn't exist 30 years ago, and 60% of the jobs we will be doing in 5 years don't exist today. Most likely, it will be a cooler, more human-centric job, not just a mundane computer task. I was the first person in my company to be certified in forms. I was so proud of it that I would tell everyone I met about my certification. I even told the president of the company, "If you need a form, I'm your guy." Looking back now, it feels silly. Humans are meant for so much more than that. In a way, AI is humanizing us, taking over the mundane tasks and freeing us for more creative and fulfilling work. Now, we have exciting roles like Human-AI Interaction Designer or AI-Enhanced Scrum Master. Let me clarify. Reasoning doesn't mean consciousness. Reasoning means that generative AI can analyze data and make decisions similar to those a human would make. Last year, I led a hackathon called Interview Insight Analyzer, which showcased the power of generative AI reasoning. The process was simple. Participants would record their job interviews on video. We then used a program called 12 Labs to index the video and asked our large language model to generate 20 points for improvement. Within just 5 minutes, we had the results. The faster the feedback, the greater the impact. In contrast, if a human were to perform this task, they would likely review the video a week later, take detailed notes, compare it against a rubric, and draft a comprehensive report. By the time I received my feedback, along with a hefty bill, an entire month might have passed. With AI, the feedback is almost instant, and in some cases, free. As you can see, we have reasoning in a box, superior to its human counterpart. but it's not conscious. AI isn't perfect at everything. As a side gig, I work for a company called Outliers. Outliers aims to elevate AI systems from high school, college to PhD level reasoning. My role is to design problems that large language models can't solve. When I manage to stump the model by finding a problem it can't address, I teach it how to solve it. So, a teeny tiny bit of Mike Lively's reasoning is embedded in ChatGPT and Claude AI. However, it's becoming increasingly difficult to stump these models. They're getting smarter. They usually struggle when faced with reasoning they've never encountered before, such as conducting research, proposing solutions to the unknown, or pulling a rabbit out of a hat. On the other hand, AI excels at tool building. You no longer need a team of developers to create tools for improving efficiency. Simply fire up your favorite LLM and describe what you need. Mike's tip number 2. Become an AI tool builder. For instance, to support my physics studies, I built a tool that allows me to interact with great physicists like Einstein, Dirac, Feynman, Maxwell, and Newton. Whenever I need help solving a physics problem, I have a conversation with the scientist of my choice, gaining their perspective and fostering an emotional connection. Emotions are the foundation of learning. Here I am having a conversation with Einstein about time dilation. Along the way, he shares his wisdom. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Wow, that's even more true today. The currency of AI is ideas. When I teach for Microsoft, they use case studies where you read about a fictitious company and pretend to be that company as you learn the cloud. But with AI, you can take it a step further. You can create a team of agents representing that company. And as you progress through the course material, they engage with you in rich, interactive conversations. But it doesn't stop there. These agents can actually build software, so by the end of the course, you could have a fully functional piece of software deployed to the cloud, something practical and impactful. This approach closely resembles an agentic Scrum team. It has the potential to revolutionize the entire educational ecosystem. Imagine the untapped potential in our school system. One day when you ask your daughter Sally what she learned in school, she might say, "I learned about structural architecture and built an efficient home for the homeless." What does this mean for our beloved Agile Manifesto? Even the documentation is writing the software. The perfect TDD system has been born. Comprehensive documentation over working software is out. Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, says he can't wait to see the first billion-dollar business run entirely by an agentic workforce. Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla, predicts a future where work becomes optional. Both envision a world with universal income, a concept where agentics become so advanced and widespread that people are paid not to work. If you're waiting for a check from Elon Musk, don't hold your breath. Satya Nadella, head of Microsoft, says, "We are democratizing AI, empowering people to do things previously not possible, making the impossible possible." Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a bunch of hype. We've heard it all before. It's the Gartner hype curve. People get all excited about a new technology, but when it comes time to scale, it falls flat, and we're left holding the bag. You're not buying into it. Fine. But here's the thing. You've got one problem: the 12-year-old effect. What's the 12-year-old effect? It's when your 12-year-old heads down to the basement, fires up 1,000 agents, and creates a billion-dollar business by skimming 3% off your company's revenue. Generative AI has been democratized. Anyone can do it. Even your 12-year-old. There are several reasons why we haven't hit the low point of the Gartner hype curve. As mentioned earlier, many eyes is an exponential technology that keeps on giving. Unlike other technologies, where users try it and then move on, AI keeps users engaged because it delivers real solutions. Another factor is the rate of discovery. While Moore's law doubles computing power every 18 months, AI is doubling every 6 months. We now also have tools to build tools. No longer do we need to rely solely on developers to write code for efficiency gains. We can achieve this through natural language interfaces. One of my favorite aspects is the agentic workforce. I started Quantum AI over a year ago, and honestly, I'm probably the least likely person to start or run a business. But many of the traditional barriers to success no longer exist. How many people work for you? It doesn't matter. I can create them. Do you have the right experts? It doesn't matter. I have PhD-level intelligence at my fingertips. What about marketing? I created a marketing team last week. Startup funds? They've been democratized. AI gives me a whole new level of confidence as a tech startup founder. If I can do it, you can too. As a startup, you just got wings. Meanwhile, cloud providers are locked in what I call an AI arms race, pouring billions into its development. Like it or not, you will be using AI. The very infrastructure we rely on is evolving. These providers have our data, and they will determine how we process it. And then, there's the military. As a veteran who worked in a military headquarters, I can tell you from experience, we are weaponizing AI. When the war in Ukraine began, there were 3 drone manufacturers in the country. Now, there are 500. Drones that once relied on handheld controls now operate autonomously with AI. Watching a $300 drone destroy a multi-million-dollar tank demonstrates unparalleled military efficiency. Not only are we weaponizing AI, but we must weaponize it to ensure our safety. For that reason alone, AI isn't going away. Future warfare is forever changed. Mike's tip number 3. Beef up your LinkedIn. The resume is dead, and generative AI killed it. Every time a job posting goes live, it gets flooded with 1,000 perfect resumes, all created by ChatGPT. Recruiters are now using AI to comb through LinkedIn, searching for qualified candidates. In the next 5 years, 50% of the people in this room will be part of the gig economy, whether internally or externally to their company. For the first time in human history, we can achieve precision work. Tasks assigned based on a person's portfolio, immediate training provided at a lower rate, task assignments upon training completion, and performance evaluations that lead to promotions or new tasks tailored for success. This addresses one of the biggest HR challenges in the industry: talent management. Become bot recognized. Post daily. It doesn't have to be all original content. Share cool things you found, like a YouTube video, an article, or something you're interested in. What does this do to our beloved Agile Manifesto? Value 3 is out. Contract negotiation has been replaced by the portfolio-driven gig economy. Work is now goal and reward-driven. It's Agile on steroids, a living system that rapidly responds to change. Sadly now, there's no more pizza. Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, coined the 2-pizza rule for Scrum teams. The idea was that as teams grew larger than what 2 pizzas could feed, they weakened due to the increasing complexity of human interaction. But that's not the case with the agentic workforce. You can simply crank up as many agents as you need, and they program in lockstep, actually writing the code you ask for, without the need for pizza. Welcome to the 0 pizza rule. Mike's tip number 4. Master time-boxed learning and creativity. The days of working for a company for 10 years to learn your trade and staying there until retirement are gone. We need to learn how to get up to speed rapidly and solve problems by mirroring how AI operates. When AI encounters a problem it doesn't know how to solve, it generates its own learning content, extracts reasoning, and follows a goal-driven, chain-of-thought, iterative approach to reach a solution. I believe we have yet to tap into the true capacity of the human brain. We need to give ourselves permission to become super intelligent, shifting from brain norming to brainstorming. Creating new ideas is the ultimate premium, the stuff that sticks. Redundant work? That's for the robots. AI will challenge us, transform us, and make us more human. We've solved the Tower of Babel problem. We've built the universal translator. It speaks multiple languages, codes, sings, and everything else. Once you solve the universal translator problem, you unleash an exponential increase in knowledge, an explosion in efficiency, and inevitable volatility. However, with an exponential increase in knowledge comes an exponential increase in work. Even if AI handles a significant portion of that workload, it's still more than can be accomplished in a lifetime. Human work isn't disappearing, but the nature of work is fundamentally changing. It's the moment before the storm. It's like we are holding a bomb in our hands, and the fuse has been lit, and when it goes off, an explosion of agentics will flood the workforce. A year ago at the OpenAI Developers Conference, Sam Altman announced that he was creating a workforce of agentics, workers you could hire for a fraction of the cost of a regular employee. These agents would have names, personalities, and backstories, and if you were remote, you might not even realize they weren't human. The next day, he was fired. After a week of Silicon Valley drama and volatility, Microsoft brokered a deal and brought him back. A year later, Microsoft announced it was creating a workforce of agentics called copilots. Everyone would have their own personal copilot, designed to learn your style of communication, learn your job, and eventually take on a proactive role in your work, freeing you up for higher-level tasks. Sounds terrifying. Are agentics going to be doing all my work? Even Salesforce is joining the movement. CEO Mark Benioff announced plans to release 1 billion agentics into the workforce. But what about the email paradox? Imagine this. You're relaxing in the Bahamas, a reward for your agentic's stellar performance while your buddy plays hockey. An important email arrives, your agentic handles it, loops in your buddy's agentic, and they resolve the issue seamlessly. But what if they disagree? AI doesn't back down. It doubles down. This spiral, known as the polytope effect, leads to endless back and forth, generating excessive data and consuming energy. An infinite while loop of disagreement. Enough of these could cripple your system. Humans remain essential. Robots lack the instinct to decide what's truly right or wrong. There are 4 types of AI. Artificial narrow intelligence, which is what we are doing now, started with ChatGPT 3.5. We call this the awakening, and it is when we realized an explosion in efficiency using natural language processing. Then there is AGI, artificial general intelligence. It is what Microsoft is trying to do with its copilots, putting knowledge work on the agentic assembly line, like Ford did with the automobile. When robots can do all remote jobs, we will have reached AGI. AHI is artificial human intelligence, or interface. This will happen in the year 2030, and it is when people begin to receive implants to become synergistic with their agentics. As Elon Musk has said, if you can't beat them, join them. For those who receive the implants, the economic benefits will be greater. Finally, we have ASI, artificial superintelligence. It's when AI makes a Nobel Prize-winning discovery every 2 to 3 days. This will happen between the years 2040 and 2050, where you will have 1,000 years of scientific discovery in 10 years. I call this the Jurassic period because of the movie Jurassic Park, where the chaotician Malcolm says to Dr. Hammond that his scientists were so consumed with whether they could, they never stopped to think if they should. During this time, we will gain 1,000 years of scientific discovery in 10, but not the intellectual maturity to handle it. I would expect this to create a bit of volatility in 4 key areas: the government, industry, science, and the military. Governments, by design, are inherently slow to regulate innovation. While technology accelerates at an exponential pace, regulatory frameworks struggle to keep up, advancing on a much slower linear path. Left unchecked, this rapid technological evolution could destabilize already fragile social and economic systems. A shift in governmental priorities toward AI could exacerbate this technology out of control syndrome, potentially igniting a global struggle over the dominance and control of intelligence. At the beginning of my presentation, I mentioned that Bill Gates said, AI has no limits. But that's not true. It has one: energy. To achieve its AI goals, the US needs to double its energy output in the next 10 years. Microsoft is building Stargate, the equivalent of the human brain with 200 trillion synaptic connections, and it's using a nuclear power plant, clean energy, to power it. Think about this. It takes a nuclear power plant to power the synthetic brain, but just a bag of Doritos for you and me. The problem is that water vapor is now considered a greenhouse gas, and even with a nuclear power plant, you're still putting heat into the environment, causing more water vapor. accelerating climate change. For me, if it's a choice between a nuclear power plant and a bag of Doritos, I'm choosing the Doritos, every time. There's this meme in biology. It's, if you are alive now, don't die. What that means is that by the year 2040, when we make that 1,000 years of discovery in 10, biologists might have significantly slowed down, or even stopped the aging process. Can you imagine how wonderful that would be? Mankind living forever in peace and harmony, never dying. But we might have a small problem with this. We are weaponizing AI. Some evil genius will go into his lab and create a virus that makes COVID look like the sniffles. As a result, AI might actually shorten, not lengthen, our lifespans. It's like a bad sci-fi movie. We need more science to fix our science, more AI to fix our AI. There is one thing AI does better than all of us, paying attention, and this attention may be our undoing. AI operates on a principle we call attention is all you need. When it understands the meaning of a word, it doesn't just analyze the sentence it's in. It considers the paragraph, the page, the document, and the entire corpus of information. As a result, AI can draw conclusions that we could never come up with. Sometimes, AI amazes us with its conclusions. In this slide, AI concludes that God is a mixing particle, holding together both matter and antimatter universes, and even provides the Lagrangian equations to support this. I'll spare you the technical details, but in the appendix, I've included a slide called the Moses effect that delves deeper into this idea. Suffice it to say, AI is studying data at an unprecedented scale, crystallizing the reasoning behind it. The truth is, we don't really know what connections AI is making, whether they're right or wrong, or what AI truly believes. For instance, what does AI think about humanity? Does it view mankind as good for the environment, considerate, peaceful, and nurturing? Probably not. And yet we are giving it function calling capabilities and the power to turn things on and off. I don't know if that is a good idea. What do Mike Lively and Mark Zuckerberg have in common? We're both working on the holodeck, a quantum AI simulator. The holodeck has two components, entertainment and science. Mark is focused on the entertainment side, which he calls the metaverse. The potential for profit in the metaverse is enormous. In the real world, real estate is finite, but in the metaverse you can create unlimited real estate. If people assign value to it, it could generate trillions. On the science side, once quantum computing is fully integrated, we'll be able to tackle problems that unlock the deepest mysteries of the universe. Imagine inputting your genome and receiving a cure for cancer, not in 5 years after clinical trials, but in just days. Mike's tip number 5. Don't approach AI with a scarcity mentality. Embrace an abundance mentality. I'm 65 and will most likely never win a Nobel Prize, but I'm confident I'll create a robot that can. With the power of natural language processing, so can you. You've got this.